You've seen the headlines, you've heard the whispers. Steven Seagal's daughter returns fearless, claims I'm worse than the action legend. It's the kind of quote that stops you dead in your tracks. It's explosive. It's defiant. It's also completely fake. That's right. We did the digging, we scoured the interviews, we looked for the shocking return, and it's nowhere. The quote is pure internet fabrication, a piece of clickbait designed to make you imagine a female clone of the 90s action star, replete with a high ponytail, a stoic expression, and an even bigger appetite for breaking wrists. But here's the kicker. The reality of Steven Seagal's daughters is infinitely more complex and, in many ways, far more rebellious than a simple, edgy soundbite. To understand why this fake quote even exists, you have to understand the man at the center of it, Steven Seagal. He's not just a movie star. He's a phenomenon. He's the Aikido master who claimed to be a real-life CIA operative, the ponytail dispenser of whispered wisdom and brutal beatdowns, the star of Under Siege and Hard to Kill. But in recent decades, his legacy has become complicated. We're talking allegations, bizarre political alliances, hello, Putin, and a reputation that has soured in the very industry that made him a god. He casts a shadow so large and so dark that anyone connected to him has to fight for their own light. So, when the internet invents a quote like, I'm worse, it's tapping into a public fantasy. We want to see one of his children confront that legacy. We want the drama. But Seagal's daughters aren't playing by that script. They aren't Seagal 2.0. They are something else entirely. Forget the one-dimensional action hero. Seagal has 7 children from different relationships. The 2 most prominent, who have truly stepped into the public eye, are Ayako Fujitani and Arissa LeBrock. And their stories are not about being worse than their father. They are about surviving his legacy and building something entirely their own. One is a quiet intellectual, a writer and indie film star. The other is a powerhouse model and a legit martial artist in her own right, but in a discipline her father famously dismisses. Their rebellion isn't a headline, it's a lifestyle. The truth isn't that they're worse, it's that they are forging paths their father could never or would never walk. This isn't a story about a sequel, it's a story about a total reboot. While the internet was busy creating a fictional trash-talking martial arts heir, Steven Seagal's actual firstborn daughter was busy becoming everything he is not: a respected writer, an indie film darling, and a nuanced artist. Meet Ayako Fujitani, the daughter who didn't just distance herself from the Seagal name, she built a career in a different universe. Born in Osaka, Japan, Ayako is the daughter of Seagal's first wife, Miyako Fujitani, a respected Aikido master herself. This is key. Ayako grew up in Japan, steeped in martial arts culture, but she chose the pen over the sword. Her fearless act wasn't breaking bones. It was moving to a foreign country at 15, the United States, to study English and writing, a world away from the shadow of her father, who had reportedly left the family years earlier. Her return wasn't to an action movie set. Her first major breakout was in the 1995 kaiju film Gamera, Guardian of the Universe. But she wasn't just the girl in a monster movie. She quickly proved her depth. While her father was starring in films like The Glimmer Man, Ayako was honing her craft, starring in critically acclaimed independent films like 2008's Tokyo, a surreal 3-part film from directors like Michel Gondry and Bong Joon-ho. You read that right. Bong Joon-ho, the Oscar-winning director of Parasite. We are a long, long way from on deadly ground. Ayako's real, fearless move was her 2005 role in Man from Reno. She played a Japanese crime novelist who gets drawn into a real-life mystery in San Francisco. The role was quiet, intelligent, and layered, all the things her father's film roles famously lack. She wasn't just acting, she was writing. She has written novels and screenplays, establishing herself as a creative force, not a physical one. Her entire career is a testament to quiet strength, not the explosive, showy, and questionable in its effectiveness, violence of her father's brand. She has almost never spoken publicly about her father, a silence that speaks volumes. It's the ultimate, "I'm not my father" statement. She didn't need to say, "I'm worse." She just proved she was different. She didn't need to fight his legacy. She just gracefully sidestepped it and built her own. Okay, so Ayako is the artist. But what about the fighter? The internet needs a Seagal daughter who can fight. Well, be careful what you wish for. Meet Arissa LeBrock. And she is, without question, a trained, dedicated, and legit martial artist. But here's the shocking twist. Her chosen art is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, a combat sport her father, Steven Seagal, has publicly and famously insulted. This is where the story gets juicy. Arissa is the daughter of Seagal and 80s icon Kelly LeBrock, the star of Weird Science and The Woman in Red. Arissa grew up with two powerhouse, larger-than-life parents, and the pressure was immense. For years, she was known in the public eye as a plus-size model, bravely carving out a space for herself in an industry obsessed with one body type. She even starred in the reality show Growing Up Supermodel, which documented her journey. But all the while, she was building a secret weapon. She found Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, BJJ, and she didn't just dabble, she became an addict. Arissa trains relentlessly, earning her belts and competing. But let's be clear, this isn't her dad's Aikido. Seagal's style is theatrical, based on redirects and joint locks against often cooperative stuntmen. BJJ is the opposite. It's a gentle art based on ground grappling, leverage, and forcing an opponent to submit. It's tested in live, full-contact rolling and in the octagon of the UFC. It's a discipline that requires humility, constant learning, and tapping out, admitting defeat, hundreds of times. Now, rewind to Steven Seagal's public comments about BJJ. He has repeatedly mocked grappling arts and claimed that his Aikido magic would defeat legendary BJJ fighters. This has made him a running joke in the entire mixed martial arts community. So, for his own daughter to not only practice BJJ, but to excel at it and publicly champion it, is the most profound, high-level, "I am not my father" move imaginable. She didn't just pick a different path, she picked the rival's path. She chose the art that proves its effectiveness, a direct contradiction to her father's entire brand. When Arissa posts a video of herself training, sweating, and really fighting, that is her saying, "I'm fearless." She doesn't need a fake quote. Her actions are doing all the talking. To understand why the fake quote, "I'm not my father, I'm worse," is so explosive, you have to look into the abyss. You have to understand the man they're being compared to. The legacy of Steven Seagal is no longer just about 90s action movies. It's a minefield of controversy, bizarre behavior, and shocking allegations that have made him one of Hollywood's most toxic figures. Let's just state the verified facts. We're not talking about rumors. We're talking about a mountain of public reports. For decades, Seagal has been a figure of ridicule for his claims. He has claimed to have worked with the CIA, trained special forces, and to be one of the most deadly martial artists on Earth. These claims have been repeatedly challenged and, in many cases, debunked by actual special forces members and martial artists. Just ask legendary judoka Gene LeBell about the time Seagal allegedly lost control of his bowels after being put in a chokehold. This is the sensei persona he built. But the ridicule turned dark. Over the years, multiple women, including actresses like Portia de Rossi, Jenny McCarthy, and Juliana Margulies, have come forward with disturbing stories of auditions and meetings with Seagal that allegedly turned into instances of sexual harassment and assault. These allegations paint a picture of a man who allegedly used his power and his intimidating physical presence to exploit women. While Seagal has denied these claims, the sheer volume and consistency of the stories have permanently shattered his public image. He became a pariah in Hollywood long before the Me Too movement fully erupted. Then there's the other stuff. His bizarre, unwavering friendship with Russian President Vladimir Putin, which culminated in Seagal being granted Russian citizenship. His appearances on Russian state media, his baffling music career as a blues guitarist, and his role in a reality show called Steven Seagal, Lawman, which was itself mired in controversy. The man has become a living caricature, a figure who is equal parts dangerous and absurd. This is the shadow his children live under. So when a fake headline claims one of them says, "I'm worse," it's playing with fire. Worse than what? Worse than a 90s action hero? Or worse than the man behind the headlines? It's a comparison his daughters have spent their entire lives trying to escape. So they didn't say the quote. But make no mistake, Ayako Fujitani and Arissa LeBrock have been in a fearless fight their whole lives. Not a fight against movie bad guys, but a fight for their own identity. They are not Seagal 2.0. They are the antithesis of Seagal. Let's break down the real ways they've proven they are nothing like their father. The craft. Art versus spectacle. Seagal's craft was the action movie. The formula was simple. He was the untouchable, whispering hero. He never lost, he never struggled, he never showed vulnerability. He was, in essence, a cartoon. Ayako Fujitani's craft is the opposite. As a writer and an indie actress, her entire career is built on vulnerability, nuance, and exploring human flaws. She chooses roles in films that are thoughtful, quiet, and emotionally complex. She doesn't need to be the hero, she's interested in being human. Arissa LeBrock's craft is modeling and BJJ. In modeling, she champions body positivity, a form of vulnerability and authenticity her father's tough guy image would never allow. In BJJ, the entire philosophy is based on humility. You must accept defeat to learn. You tap out, you get up, you learn. It's an ego-crushing discipline. Compare that to Seagal's public persona, which is built on an impenetrable, unassailable, and, according to many, false ego. The fight. Proven skill versus questionable claims. Seagal's art is Aikido. In his films, it's presented as a hyper-effective, almost magical style where opponents fly across the room. In reality, its effectiveness in a real, resisting fight is highly debated within the martial arts community. Seagal has famously avoided all challenges from other legitimate fighters. Arissa's art is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Its effectiveness is not debated. It is a cornerstone of modern mixed martial arts. It is proven every single day in gyms and competitions around the world. Arissa doesn't just claim to be a fighter, she proves it by competing and training with other fighters who are actively trying to defeat her. She is embracing a world of verifiable skill, a direct challenge to her father's world of unverifiable claims, the public image. Authenticity versus the persona. Seagal's entire life is a persona. The bluesman, the deputy sheriff, the special forces operative, the spiritual master. It's a curated, costumed identity. His daughters are radically authentic. Arissa is brutally honest about her struggles with body image, her family, and the pressure of her name. Ayako lives a quiet life as an artist, letting her work speak for her, not a fabricated backstory. They aren't playing characters, they are simply being themselves. That is their fearlessness. Let's bring it all home. The internet wanted a daughter to come back, ponytail swinging, and say, "I'm worse than my father." It wanted a simple, trashy action movie sequel. But the truth is, Steven Seagal's daughters did something far more shocking. They refused to be sequels. They refused to be part of the franchise. They are, in every sense of the word, complete and total reboots. The fake quote, "I'm worse," is a simple, low-effort rebellion. It's something a teenager would say. It accepts Seagal's framework and just tries to one-up it. The real rebellion, the one Ayako and Arissa have been waging, is far more profound. It's a fearless act of complete and total rejection. Ayako Fujitani's fearless return isn't an action scene. It's every quiet, thoughtful, independent film she stars in. It's every line of prose she writes. She didn't just walk away from her father's shadow, she moved to a different continent of creativity, one built on intellect and emotion, the very things his persona lacks. Arissa LeBrock's fearless return isn't a single quote. It's every single time she steps on the BJJ mat. It's her choice to embrace an art form built on humility and provable skill, a direct contradiction to her father's brand of ego-driven, unproven magic. She didn't just reject her father's martial art, she embraced its greatest rival. That is a power move no movie script could ever capture. So, forget the clickbait. Forget the fake quote. The real story isn't that Seagal's daughter is worse than him. The real, verified, and truly shocking story is that his daughters are better than that. They are smarter, they are more authentic, and they are building legacies of their own, one based on real art, real skill, and real courage. In the shadow of a man who built a fantasy, his daughters have had the audacity to build a reality. And in 2025, that is the most fearless and shocking story of all.